Hello and welcome back to Your Game Nation, where we bring you all things TCG. My name's Preston, and today we're talking about the news. And ooh, it's going to be a fun one this week. Quite a few things got announced in the live stream, so let's jump into the website first, and then we'll jump into what was covered in the live stream. So this is the English website, and they've dropped just the most basic information like they did in Japan, but for both the extra booster pack, EBO2, the anime collection, as well as OP10, Royal Bloodlines. The only reason I bring it up is because we get a tentative just range of days, April 2025 as the release date, which I think is like 3 or 4 months behind the official release in Japan. But yeah, no really new additional information here, just a release date for the rest of the world. Same thing with Royal Blood, which I think it's Royal Bloodlines, and in Japan OP10, with a release date of March 2025. And I believe this is all the same here. So Punk Hazard, Supernovas, and Don Quixote family. Everything that we already know for this set that we've already gotten. Just a quick update on the release for these sets. But with talking about these sets, we have to get some cards. And the live stream, which I think was like the 3-on-3 tournament, delivered. It delivered so many things with just the worst adjectives to describe it. Let's jump straight into our first card here. Red Purple Sugar. Did not see this color combination coming out of the Don Quixote family. I was hoping for maybe green and something, or I don't know. It basically puts us at a point where I don't think there's any card pool for her right now, because the Doflamingo leader was green and purple, and I believe they only got green cards. I think they got 2 sets of green cards. So this not having green is, I think, a missed opportunity to do green and something else. But they probably needed a purple leader, so they made a purple. I don't get it. Let's get into what she does, and then we can continue to be upset about what's going on. Sugar, Red Purple Leader, 4-life 5k powered Don Quixote Pirates. At the end of your turn, if you have a character with the Don Quixote Pirates type with a power of 6,000 or more, set up to one of your Don as active. Opponent's turn, once per turn. When you activate an event, set up to one of your Don from your Don deck as active. Okay, so she has 2 things. The first thing being, if you have a character with Don Quixote Pirates, power of whatever, set up to one of your Don as active. So this is restanding one of your Don, which is something that we saw the green purple leader do, which is kind of a green thing, but not as much as it used to be. But reactivating a rested Don. And then on your opponent's turn, if you activate an event, you get to ramp 1. Dependent on your opponent playing cards and attacking you, so they could starve you out, and then you don't get to ramp, which will be a probably pretty valid counter, is to starve you out and then attack and not allow you to ramp on your turn. But it's purple, so you could probably just play ramp on your own turn. Everyone else does it, so why not? But being able to restand a Don, that's interesting. That means you can go all out and get down to no active Don, have 1 active Don to activate an event on your opponent's turn. It kind of works out there, I think. It's a very interesting leader. Since it has no previous support, I feel like it's starting with a step back, and I wish it had started with something. I don't think it has anything that I just can't remember any purple Don Quixote Pirates. Let me know in the comments if there are purple Don Quixote Pirates already, or if this sugar is starting with nothing. Now, we can move on to the next leader, because I have nothing left to say about Sugar. She's a complete unknown and will completely rely on this one set until the next set, where she'll probably get support in the same color or the other color, or several sets down the road like Don Quixote do Flamingo got. So let's move on to this next guy, because he already has some support. Boom. I don't know who had Usopp on their bingo board, but Usopp gets his leader card. Now let's see what he does. Usopp, blue-black leader, 4 life, 5k power, Dressrosa, Straw Hat Crew. Your cost 2 or greater Dressrosa type. Characters have +1 cost. Permanent effect. Interesting enough, he has more to talk about. Opponent's turn, once per turn, this effect may be activated when one of your Dressrosa type characters are removed from the field by your opponent's effects or are KO'd. If you have 5 or less cards in your hand, draw 1 card. Really interesting effect there. So, anytime a character is removed from the field on your opponent's turn, once per turn, and you have 5 cards or less in hand, draw a card. I don't know how I feel about it, because I really like the idea of being able to draw a card, but it has no innate ability to do anything at all. Like, we see leader effects that drive the game forward and create more interesting board states and stuff, and this is when your board state gets worse. If you happen to have 5 cards or less, draw a card. Not a big fan of that second restriction. I think once per turn is enough to say draw a card. When your opponent KOs or removes a card from your side of the field, draw a card. I don't think it needed to have the hand restriction, because it's also only once per turn. So it's not like you can spam out a bunch of cards into your hand. The only reason I could see that is if this deck is also going to have a lot of draw power. I mean, it has blue in it, so it has a lot of fun things that it can do already. And it has black, which is absolutely disgusting color, with just things that always work because they made a few cards just unrestricted. So they didn't want to have another Sakazuki, so they limited it so much, which I think is going to be harmful in the long run. But this is a blue-black Dressrosa, which means we're going to get blue or black Dressrosa support. I believe the first set with Rebecca was all black Dressrosa, so I'm going to assume this is going to be all blue Dressrosa. So Rebecca might get some support that would be helpful to bring her back. This is going to be an attacking Dressrosa type leader, so that might change how you play, because a lot of those cards were expecting their leader never to attack. So it might be a little bit awkward playing the previous support with this leader. I guess we'll have to wait and see what we get out of it, and if it will be helpful at all to both leaders or just the one. But we can move on to our next leader here. We have another Eustace Captain Kidd. Another leader that I did not expect. I was really hoping for any of the other supernovas, since we already have a couple Kidd leaders. Would love to have seen Capone Gang Beige. That would have probably been the highest expectation. Like, I just wanted that leader, and we get a Kidd instead, which kind of makes sense. Very popular character, being the character that we want to shit on all the time because he just can't catch a break. Let's get into what this leader does. Eustace Captain Kidd, yellow leader, 5 life, 5k power, supernova, Kidd Pirates. End of your turn, you may turn the top card of your life card face up. Set up to one of your 3/8 cost characters with supernova type to active. That character gains blocker until the end of your opponent's next turn. That's interesting. It's weird, and doesn't have the normal yellow stuff where it's like hey, let's just gain a bunch of life or whatever. But it has stuff that interacts with your life. So you always have to you're going to have to play the cards that turn your life face down. We have several of those because that's been a thing for a while. There's going to have to be a bunch of yellow supernova cards, which brings up the promo that came out, which we only had one leader for, but now has two. Interacting with yellow supernova, so there's going to be has to be a ton of yellow supernova stuff to be able to work with this leader. But we don't know what we're going to be setting as active and giving blocker to. We know nothing. We can assume that they're going to be a supernova, which we know those characters. I don't believe are any other characters than the ones that we have seen previously. So we know the characters that are going to be coming out. We just don't know what they do yet. And that leaves us questioning some stuff. It is a 5-life yellow leader, and if we just play some spice to keep that life coming back and flipping over cards and stuff like that, this leader could be quite interesting. But we always have one more leader to talk about, and surprise, it's Law. Again, this could have been beige. This could have been anything other than Law, but it's Law. So we'll see. It also could have had different typing, but let's see what we see about that. Law, green yellow leader, 5 life, 5,000 power, 4 life. Heart Pirates, Supernovas, Destrosa. Dawn ×1, activate main once per turn. If the cost of your characters is 5 or more, interesting. The total cost of your characters is 5 or more. You can return one of your characters to the hand. Reveal the top card of your life, and if that card is supernova type, is a supernova type character card with a cost of 5 or less, you can play it. That effect confused the hell out of me. So I'm guessing it's all the cards on your board. If the total cost of all the cards on your board is 5 or more, add one to your hand. So it's similar to Shambles. It's going to pick up a card and play a card. Then you have to reveal a supernova type character with 5 or less from your life to play it. So it's kind of a worse, it's kind of a worse red-green, because there's a chance that you miss, or you don't remember what life you have and you just mess it up. And it has a weird condition of having to have characters that have a total of 5 or more, which is also kind of weird. But it does have green, so all of our previous Supernova support is there, which is super nice. So there is that to think about. I'm not sure. It could be really good, because we always find a way to make Law good. He's had 2 leaders that have been extremely good. One of them that was so good that they had to reprint it with a new effect and ban it. So I think people will find a way to make this overpowered because they love Law. Being able to have a 1 cost on board, put it back to your hand like a searcher, and then flip over a 5 cost character in life and play it is going to be just such a great feeling. But it's at the cost of a life, so you're going to again have to have yellow life regain to play specific cards so that you can activate it. And this effect also isn't going to come on board until 2 or 3 maybe. It's going to be hard to get 5 cost of 5 characters on board when the first 2 turns you have only 4 Dawn worth of Dawn of it. It's tough. So it's like, can you cheat out characters quickly, like really quickly, to be able to activate this sooner? I don't think so. Not super easy, because a lot of the really like cool like supernova stuff is 5 cost already. So what are we gonna do with this guy? It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell, but luckily we do have another confusing card to talk about, and it's confusing because it looks like it's Sanji, but the name is not Sanji. Watch Punk Hazard and you'll get it. Tony Chopper, red character, 4 cost, 4k power, Punk Hazard, Straw Hat Crew, 2k counter. Blocker, opponent's turn, this character has plus 2000 power. So go watch Punk Hazard. This is going to be a confusion for the entire set. Go watch Punk Hazard. Blocker, 4 cost, 4k power blocker is quite interesting. And we get plus 2000 power on your opponent's turn, so he's actually a 6k blocker. I think that's quite nice. I think that's a really interesting idea. It's a red Straw Hat, so all of those fun cards from like the first few sets that are red work quite nicely in it. The interesting thing is, who is our red leader for Punk Hazard? Don't think we have something for that. We get Caesar, and I don't see Caesar doing that unless it's just a general Punk Hazard deck, because Caesar doesn't have that many cohorts to join his deck. I don't know. It's interesting. We'll have to see how this set progresses, but having red Straw Hat cards be printed again means we have access to those early sets, OP10 red stuff, which was quite nice to play. Is it still nice to play this many sets down the road? We'll have to see how that plays out, but that's it. We have made it to the end. We'll have to see how this set progresses. I'm really excited about the leader choices we have in the set, regardless of whether or not we're going to play any of them, because they all kind of seem whatever compared to what we already have. Let me know in the comments down below if that's off base, if you see one of these leaders and you're like, that's the guy, they're broken as shit, I need to play that guy. Let me know in the comments down below. I would really like to get your opinions on these leaders. We have all of them, so we can look at them as a whole at some point and see if the set has strong leaders. But until then, if you like this video, hit that thumbs up, and if you want more One Piece TCG content, hit that subscribe, and until next time, peace.